Hi, I'm Nancy, and I love to help agents make a lot of money in real estate and have great careers and support their families. But I want to have a heart to heart talk with you today. So, for the agents that you've maybe made a few sales in real estate and you're feeling pretty good about it's easy to get a contract, and it's not easy to get it closed, but it's easy to get a contract. And you've got a little experience under your belt, but you're looking around, and some of these guys are making the big bucks. And so, what is the difference? What is the difference between you and them? So, is it because they have better leads? No, I mean they do have better leads, but it's because they're focusing on something else besides finding buyer leads. So when we first get in real estate, that's what you usually do. We find buyer leads, whether it's open houses for other agents, or maybe you're working on a team, or maybe you're buying leads online, or your broker's giving you some leads, or wherever you're doing, you're trying to find as many leads as you can to help those people find a home, and it's starting to work for you. And it's starting to work pretty well, and you're getting maybe one or two a month. So you're happy, but at the same time, you're working very hard. And in this market in particular, you're getting beat up a lot because what's happening is your buyer didn't make the best offer, and there were five other offers, so you're losing out, and you have to take the same buyer and find one or two or three or four homes before they actually get it and make the best offer to win the property. So it's all about winning the property these days if you're working with buyers, right? So what if you took the time now, since you've got that type of experience under your belt, and you said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I want to have a real business now, not just be a salesperson, which a salesperson is very valuable. I don't mean to minimize that. You help a lot of people find the homes they want, and that is a very important job. And we do need great buyer agents. But what if you could do both? What if you could learn while you're working with these buyers how to become a great listing agent? Because the highest paid real estate agents in the world know how to list. They learn how to list. And there's a phrase in the business that says, got to learn to list to last. And so what happens is you get burnout if you're only working with buyers. I've had an agent say that a broker told him you have to be one or the other. And you really don't have to be. But the top people in the world who make the most money in real estate do become specialized at listings. So when I was in the business, I finally figured that out and became specialized in listings, getting listings. So how do you do that? How do you do that? It's going to be hard for you because with buyers, when you're working with buyers, you can do that as a new agent, and you've got MLS and you've got all the tools, and you can take them and find them a house. So they're more than willing to write a contract when you find them the house they want. Listings are a little different. I wrote down 5 steps if you want to learn how to list and if you want to learn how to last. So, number 1, I wrote down you've really got to have the right tools to do it. Okay, so number 1, you're going to want to have a really good listing presentation. You're going to want to have that because it's going to be awkward in the beginning. As you go on and as you do it, just like the first time you get on a skateboard or something, you're wobbling, and you're probably going to wobble learning how to list. That's okay, but you'll get better with time. But if you've got some documentation with you when you go on the appointment, that's going to help you a lot. You'll feel more confident because you've got a good book in front of you that's telling the seller all the market values. It has a cover letter about you and why you're in this business. It's got maybe you've already made some sales, so you've probably got some recommendations, and that's going to be in your book. You're going to have the comparables. Somebody's going to help you with that, or maybe you don't need help because you've sold a few homes and you know how to do that now. So you've got a market analysis. You've got your marketing plan. You need to have a marketing plan on what you're going to do, what action you're going to take, why they would hire you instead of someone else. And you're going to be able to need to answer those kinds of questions. So when you go on a listing appointment, you're going to have that ammunition with you. Number 2, you're going to want to practice scripts and dialogues. And I got to say, there's a lot of people that get turned off when I tell them that because they want to be natural and they don't want to be scripted. But here's the thing. You need to know what questions to ask. And when you learn then it's no longer a script or a dialogue, it's just you doing it. So if you can learn the scripts and dialogues and the questions to ask in the beginning, it's going to take you so far. So when you're at the appointment, you're going to have to sit down with the seller and say, you know, what's the most important thing to you about getting this house sold? And, you know, what's the most important thing that you want from the realtor that you hire? Those kinds of questions. So you have a series of questions that you ask them. So it's not just a script where you're spewing on them. It's a two-way conversation, and they're giving you the information that you need in order to help them feel comfortable hiring you as the agent of choice. So that's why you learn your scripts and dialogues. That's why you practice them up front. Learn objection handling and what objections to overcome. And it might not sound like an objection to you when they say they want to think it over, but it is. So you learn how to overcome the objections. So that's actually more scripts and dialogues, but eventually it's not scripts and dialogues anymore. Eventually it's just you simply answering their questions so that you can move on. And the third thing that you're going to want to learn how to do is ask for the order when you're there. So you've got your paperwork prepared all ahead of time. Everything's filled out except the price and a couple of other dates and things like that. So you're ready with the paperwork. And you just have to ask for the order and have the pen with you and have the paperwork with you and say, you know what? I think this is going to be good. Let's go ahead and get the paperwork out of the way, okay? And that's it. So that's asking for the order without saying, sign the contract. Don't say sign the contract. Say, let's just get this paperwork done so that I can get started marketing for you, okay? And that's all you got to do. And maybe the first time it doesn't work. The first time they tell you they want to think it over. So you just come up with a couple of other things. You don't have to learn an encyclopedia. There's only about 5 or 6 objections that everybody would come up with anyway. So if you learn those things, so you practice with people before you go, and that is item number 3. So a number 4 tip for you. Where are you going to find these people to go on an appointment with? How about you've made some sales? Is there a neighborhood that you liked that you sold a house in? Or is there a neighborhood that you wrote a contract on and you couldn't find a house, or the house didn't work out? Buyer didn't get it, okay? So now what do? You've got the buyer, they love the neighborhood. Why don't you go contact the neighbors and say, I've got this couple, this lovely couple, they just lost out on a home that they really wanted in your neighborhood, and they still want to be in your neighborhood. So if you're interested in selling, or if you know a neighbor who is, would you please call me right away? So you could do that in the form of a letter. You could do it in the form of a postcard. You could do it in the form of a Sly broadcast, which is a company that you can call multiple people at one time and just leave a message on their voicemail. You could look up in the tax rolls and see who the owners are, and you could actually contact the neighbors. You could door knock. You could do anything. Find that buyer a house in that neighborhood, and then you're going to get yourself a listing, or 2 or 3, by going through the motions of that. So that's one of the 4 things you could do to help become a listing agent. The 5th thing, and the most important thing of all, is to believe in yourself that you can become a listing agent. Because if you focus on it and you practice it and you continue to learn the skill, you will become a great listing agent. And once you've got that down, you will love your career in real estate so much more. You'll be in charge. And what's going to happen then is the other buyer agents are going to come to you because you're the listing agent. And the cool thing about being the listing agent is you don't lose the listing, you get it sold. So you lose buyers because they get disheartened because they can't get the house they want. The listing in this kind of market, when you learn how to be a listing agent, the world is yours. All you have to do is repeat the process. And then you're going to make the most money in real estate that you possibly can, which is limitless. Take care. Have a good day.